Depending on which base you've opted for, whether you're going to have the cartridge base or you've got a concrete pad, you will get a channel very similar to this one. This is a lighter gauge channel for two reasons. I'm going to explain that in a minute. Or you may have a heavier gauge channel. The heavier gauge channel is for directly onto concrete. The lighter gauge channel is for this application, or if you're going to overclad the building as well, because at the end of the day, you've got a very industrial container type looking building, which from my opinion and a lot of opinion on my Facebook group is people don't like that and they want to overclad it to make it look more traditional. So this particular section here is the lighter gauge section. It's now going to sit on the back of the building like that, so it's sitting directly onto that aluminium section there. We're going to rivet it to it. We're going to make sure it's in line with the back of the building like so. And what we'll do then, we're just going to drill and rivet all the way along like that, and that channel there will then take your sheets, they will stand up into that. So what we're going to do is, this particular building is 3 meters long, so these sections come at 3 meters. So what we'll do, we're just going to cut that down there like that. And then we're going to bend that over, and we're going to cut that section off, so that when the side channel goes in, it meets it. Again, it's sharp, so you need to be watching your fingers. So that will go there like that. We will have another section of channel across there like that, and the panels will sit in there. We're going to do exactly the same on this end now. Cut down there, pull it over, bend it over, and then just snip it off. If you've gone for the heavier section, then you may want to use a grinder to cut it, as you won't cut it with tin snips. So there. So what we'll do then, we will get our square again, and we will make sure that the edge of the trim is in line with the edge of the building. Drill that, and we're just going to pop a rivet in there, and then what we're going to do, we're going to work our way down like so. I'm going to work our way down the building, make sure that the trim is dead in line with the back of the building, and we're going to pop rivet every 450 mil, or certainly thereabouts anyway. Right, so the back section's fixed. We're going to put the side section on now. So I've put it up to there. You can see where I cut that off. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to mark that with the Sharpie. Roll that on its side. Like so. Just be careful with these, they are sharp. And get rid of the burrs. And put that on there. I'm going to go to this other end now with my square and mark it up for where it wants cutting. And just bring it flush with the face of the aluminium. And then what I'm going to do then is, I'm just going to square around it like that. So I've created a square mark on there now like that. I'll follow suit. And return it all the way around. Like so. And then that will then get cut off. A bit fiddly. Now, you could use an angle grinder for this, but what will happen then is you'll burn the metal, you burn the plastic coat off the metal, which will then create corrosion. So that's it. I'm going to offer that back into the place where it should be. Mark up my side there, because we want to take that off, don't we? Give that a cut. Put that back into place where it wants to go, and you can see there now I'm getting the shape of my perimeter. So we'll do the same again now. We're going to rivet that to there. We're going to use the square, make sure it's in line with the frame, and we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. This is the front of the building, so we're obviously going to have our doors here. So we know it's 3 meters long. We want our doors to sit central. So that is the center of our building there now. The particular doors that I'm going to fit are 1800. So what we're going to allow is 910 either side, and that will give me a little bit of fitting room on them as well. So there we go. So that there now, and that one there, is where we want our frame to stop. So we'll cut 2 sections of this channel here. We're going to cut them at 585, and then that will be the perimeter channel all fit. So 585 is what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to mark that there. It doesn't actually matter if you don't get the greatest, squarest cut with these, because you're never going to see them once you've got your doors in and once you've clad your building. It's not the easiest thing to cut. Like I said, if you've got a metal cutting chop saw, you can use that, or you could use a grinder, but then you are going to burn the plastic coat off. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to put that there. I'm going to mark that channel there, and then we'll just cut that piece off. Right, so we'll offer that in. But what's important to do now is to make sure that this is dead in line with the frame, because we know the doors are straight. John, do you want to hold that there for me? We know the doors are straight. We know the aluminium. We know the aluminium is straight. So as long as we get this track straight, then everything will fall true and we'll fit our doors nicely. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put a few extra ones in this one, simply because it is the front. We will be fitting our doors to this, so we want some good strength on it. And what we'll do now, we'll just mirror that exact configuration over there. All that remains to do now is get yourself a little brush and just brush out all the burrs that I've collected in the track, because you don't want or need them there. If you've opted for the full kit, then your kit panels will be marked up. They'll either have a sticker or not. It'll be wrote on the insulation side which way round and what height. If you're going to cut the kit yourself, then cut your back wall to the height shown in the build pack. And then what you can do then is just put your offcuts in, and this is how you can make sure you can get your last cut perfect. So you can put your offcuts in like that, and slide that piece in there like that, and then put your mark up there like that. And that's where you want to cut your final piece. So, but like I said, if you've opted for the full kit, then they will be all marked up. Or if you're going to cut them yourself and go down that road, then follow the measurements in the build pack and you won't go wrong there. So this is how we're going to put these in now. So we've got this back channel, obviously. So what we're going to do is we're going to just peel this plastic back, the protective film. Now you may get some scratches on these. They're big sheets of metal, you know, and when you're transporting around, it's not ideal, but it is where it is. So, right, so it's got the bottom there. We're going to offer this panel up. Again, holding it by the bottom rather than just grabbing the metal, because what will happen, you can separate the metal from the insulation. So John will lower his down away from the track. I'll stand it up. And then what we'll do then, we'll just lift it up and offer it in and sit into place like that. Right, so what will happen now, it will hold itself relatively well, but if it's a windy day, it's going to want to blow over. So what you want to do now is get round this side. We're just going to pop a few rivets in it, just so that it can hold itself. And at this point now, what I'm going to do is just hold that flashing against there, and we've swapped over to the anthracite colour-coded rivets now. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put 3 in there. I'm keeping hold of the panel at the same time. And then what we'll do then, we'll put 3 on the inside as well, and that will hold the panel upright. And what you can see on this side, I'm putting the rivet on the raised profile of the sheet. So we've got 6 rivets in there now. That's enough to hold it. We're just going to put some additional ones in. And again, on the back, we're going to put an additional set. And that's enough to hold that. Even though it's got quite a bit of a wobble on it, it's still successfully held. Like I said, if it's a really windy day, then you might want to just wait until the wind calms down a little bit. But that should be enough now to hold that. Right, we need to provide a bit of rigidity on this corner here. So what we've got is the corner piece here. Again, I'm going to pull the film back. So there we go. So what we'll do now, we'll offer this up into place. We've got the pitch going the correct way. Just going to get that film out of there. Okay, I'm going to push that tight up to the back panel and keep it, make sure it's tight at the bottom there. I'm going to get a rivet in there and pop another one in here. And we do the same on the inside. And this is what's going to provide you strength on your corner. And then what we need to do, we need to fix these two together to provide the rigid corner. So we've got some flashings over here. So what we're going to do is take a measurement. I'm going to measure off the top of that trim there. And then we're going to transfer the mark onto there and cut this flashing to length. You just transfer the mark on there. So again, this building will be getting clad inside and outside. So precision is not really what's required at this moment in time. Again, sharp edges, so you have to be careful with them. So what we'll do then, we'll get this over here. You can see the ribs on the panels. So because we know the floor is level, when the ribs are in line, see like that isn't in line now. But when it's in line, we know that it'll be somewhere near plumb. So what we're going to do, we're going to fix this flashing to that one first. We're going to keep it tight to there like that, and then what we will do, we will plumb it and get it so it's nice and plumb and square. So John's now got that held roughly into position where it wants to be. I'm going to pop a couple of rivets in here now. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get John to clamp that flash into that panel there just because it was moving as we were doing it.
Am I good there?
Yeah, and he's going to put some weight on that so that I can drill through there successfully. Get another rivet in there. Okay, so that one now is fastened to there. We can pop some more in there. Again, about every 400, we're looking for a fixing. It's important that you remember the distances for your rivets because they do need to be well riveted up so that it provides rigidity for the full building. So we've got that flashing fastened to there. Now what we need to do now is get the flashing fastened to the other panel there. So what we're going to do is, we know the bottom can't move because we've got it riveted to this track. So what we'll do is we'll pop one in the bottom there. And now what we'll do now is we're going to get John to hold it while I level it, and then we're going to get a rivet in the top, and then we should be good then. So I'm just going to level that. That's okay there. And that's okay there. So if John just holds that them two corners together for me, I'll get a riveting up here. And then John can let go now because that's enough there to actually create the rigidity in that corner. So what we'll do now, we'll go down and we'll just marry up with these rivets on that side. And that'll provide a nice rigid corner. And then we can carry on with our back wall then. Right, so that's the corner, nice and rigid there. So what we can do now is carry on with our wall, carry on this way, and we'll do exactly the same scenario with this corner here. So the beauty of these panels is they're extremely light, or very light anyway. So what we've got is 35 kilos per 2.5 metre panel. Obviously these have been cut down to height, so we've got even less than 35 kilos a panel. Again, I'm just going to pull this film off. Get it up and out of the way. Lift my panel in, over, and then what I'm going to do then is make sure it's pushed in fully, and I'm pushing it tight up to the other panel, and then what we're going to do then is get some rivets in it. Again, we've gone back to the anthracite rivets this time. And once we've riveted the back, we'll go on the inside and rivet the inside then. So we'll now offer us the last panel in there. There we go, it's dropped down nicely as that. And we'll get those last rivets in there. And back inside again, you must remember that you need to rivet everything in sequence. The full instructions are on the build pack. Just page by page, or watch the video, and you won't go wrong with that. So we're going to do exactly the same again. We're going to put this corner up. John's going to get up on the ladder and he's going to hold the corner somewhere where it wants to be. Get myself a rivet in there. When you fix your rivets, you want to be fixing to the highest point and rather than the lowest point, because it's just going to pull in there. Okay, so we'll get him to get one at the top now as well. And we're looking down that line. We're pretty parallel there. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to get the level on that just to check it. And we're good that way. And we are perfect that way too. Okay, so have you got a clamp of it, John? Have you got a clamp of it, yeah? Right, so we're going to get a rivet in there. What I've done this the opposite way around to the other side. You can see there, what I've forgotten to do is actually fix it to the bottom base before. So obviously that's going to keep us held down to the floor, and we know the floor is level, so the wall will be plumb if we're sat tight on the floor. And then we can get a series of rivets in here, approximately 400 spacing, like I said. If you're opting for the industrial look, then we can supply these flashings in white, in black, in anthracite, whatever colour you want. So what we're going to do now, we've got that completely fixed up there, and what we're going to do now is make sure, because we know that can't go that way because it's fixed to the floor, so we're going to make sure that this is plumb this way now. Just into me a touch, John. And John's going to take this clamp off there now, and he's now going to clamp it to the back side when I tell him it's correct. Oh. Okay, good. Yeah. So he's clamped on there now. So what we'll do now, we'll get a series of rivets up here. And that will tie that corner in then. And them two corners are tied in and the back wall's tied in. So what we can do now is carry on with the remainder of this side wall and then jump onto that side wall and build that side wall up too. Right, so we've obviously got a rivet at the bottom, we've got our corner flashing on the inside. What we're going to do now, we're going to offer this flashing up there. John's now going to mark the top of that for me. We're going to cut that and then we're going to rivet it on nice and tidy there. So that will tidy up that corner there, create a flashing on there, and also create more rigidity to the building too. So what we're looking for, we need to go the rivet to the end, because obviously we're never going to get a rivet in the insulation there, so we're keeping a rivet to the end. And I'm keeping that pressed tight and into the corner where it needs to be. And again on the back side here, so I'm keeping that in nice and tight there. So you can see the strength now that's creating on that flashing. It's also creating a weather tight seal as well. And what we're obviously going to do, we're going to batten this and overclad it with a choice of cladding. So we're doing exactly the same again. We're just marking the length of the flashing there. I'm going to cut it off and we're going to get it riveted to that corner to provide strength. If you're actually keeping this metal on shore, then you might want to be a little bit tidier when you do your flashings. But we're fully cladded now, so we're good with that. Right, so we've got us back walls up, we've got us side walls, we've got us flashings on there. We're nice and solid on there, so we're just going to drop onto the front wall now. Get that in there like that. Nice tap over. Get that riveted at the bottom, and then we're going to do exactly the same thing with the corner flashing, so we can get it nice and plumb. John's got a clamp on it, and we're just going to make sure that we're good each way. Actually, we want to go over that way a little bit, so. And he can release his clamps now, and what I can do is just go down there and put a series of rivets at 400, which will tidy that up and tie it all in together. Right, so the sides are up now, the two cheeks, so we're going to put this lintel on now. This is a heavier section of steel. It's going to provide a bit of strength to support the roof. We will talk about other lintels and roofs and spans and stuff like that as we go along, options for supporting the roof as well. Right, so that's set on there now. This will come colour coded, it will also come pre-drilled. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drill it to one side. Now this wants more fixings than the bottom due to the fact it is going to be structural. Like I said, this will be colour coded. And we're going to do exactly the same on the front as well. Like I said, this is structural, so it wants more fixings than what you previously put on. We're then going to offer up our head section. John's going to come in and hold this with me now as well. And what we're going to do now is, because this is cut to length, we're just going to force that other cheek over and then pop that up into place. Okay, so we've got that bit of insulation and we're going to put the bottom part of the lintel in now. So this is just going to slot on there, and what will happen with that one, it'll go over the top of the head lintel. So what we'll do now is, I'm just going to put one in the middle just for ease of doing it. I'm trying to pop a rivet in there now. And what we're going to do then, we're going to make sure that that's pushed up all the way down, and we're going to rivet it all the way down, and then we'll do the same on the other side as well, and that's create a box section there, insulated box section. And then what we'll do then, we'll drop onto the front side, we'll do exactly the same. We're going to pop, you can see there, look, it's just hanging down, so we're just going to pop it up like that. And we'll do a series of rivets all the way down there. Like I say, that'll be colour coded. It'll be anthracite. If you've opted for a wider opening, then what we will do then, we will build 2 dwarf stud walls and we will put a lintel straight across the inside. You are losing a bit of depth on the room, but you're guaranteed that you're not going to get any dip in that roof when you get your snow loading on. So that's the lintel in. We're now going to put the legs in as well, just to seal these off now. What we're aiming for is just to chuck that behind that flashing there. And that'll go in there like that. Like I said, imagine if you will, if these were anthracite and they were colour coded. I've not had time to get them powder coated as of yet. So when they're in, what we will do then, we will rivet them to the side of the panel. Same on that side, and that is the walls almost complete. We're going to offer the roof up now, so what we're going to do, we're going to peel off this plastic first because it can be a bit of a pain to get off. These being longer than the wall, they're obviously heavier, so this is definitely a 2-person job. So like I said before, it's metal, it's sharp, so you might put your gloves on. We want to pick it up by the bottom rather than pulling it like that because you'll pull the metal off the insulation where it's bonded to. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to walk in first, and then we're going to offer it up over the back. John's just going to step up and pop it into place. So like I said, they're quite heavy. So what we're going to do then is we're going to go around the other side now, and we're going to make sure that the roof is sat on square, because obviously it's not on square at the moment there. And it needs to be hanging over the back, 50mm. So we'll get it into position. So what we're working on is a 50mm overhang at the back, like so, and a 116mm overhang on the sides. And we know that's nice and square. And then what we're going to do then is we're just going to get a Sharpie and just draw around the corner like that, so that if it moves, we know at the position it wants to be back in. So when that first sheet is up, we'll then put the second up, exactly the same scenario again. Offer the back up and over. We know we've lipped it on there, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make sure that we're hanging over exactly the same at the front and the same at the back, 50mm, and then we know our spacing is good on that roof then. And don't forget, now's your opportunity to get your plastic film off. And again, what we'll do, we'll just make sure that the front is in line. You can see there's a little foam strip, so what we're going to do in a minute now, we're going to put some little stitch screws in there and stitch the top of that to that, and that's the way the seal on that there then. And we're just going to offer his last piece on there. What I will say is, if it's a windy day, then you might want to wait till the wind has calmed down, due to the fact it will grab the sheets and pull them out of your hands. So once you've made sure that your building is in the correct position and all your perimeters are parallel, this is the important one, the 50mm at the back there, and then the rest needs to be parallel. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go around with some silicone and we're going to put a generous bead of silicone. Right, we've got this trim now that goes on the back, so we're overhanging the roof 50mm, so this trim now is going to go on there like that. It's then going to fasten to the back of the building, it's going to fasten to the bottom of the roof, and what that'll do now, it'll tidy up where you can see that insulation there, it'll tie that roof to the back wall, and it'll also give you somewhere to put your gutter bracket. Now, this sticks over there, so what we're going to do, we're going to get it to the right length, just going to put a Sharpie on there, pull it down, and then we're just going to give that a cut. with the tin snips and get rid of that piece there. And then what that'll do then, that'll provide that little cut off there detail. So John's just going to hold that for me now. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to screw it up into the roof and get a rivet in there. Cute. And then I'm going to put one in the back wall as well. And you can see that now, that has now tied the roof to the back wall. So we'll do that, we'll go all the way along there, every 300 mil. So you can see there now, when you fix your gutter bracket to there, the rain's just going to run off and drop into your gutter and down to your fall pipe then. So what we'll do, like I said, we're going to carry on now and we're going to put these fixings every 300 all the way along here. So these trims come at 3 metre lengths. So obviously if your building's bigger than that, then you're going to need a little extra piece. So I've chopped another bit off another flashing. I'm going to hold it on there like that. And then mark that Sharpie on there. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing again. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to overlap that previous one, put that up to where it needs to go. And then John's going to put a couple of fixings in there. And what we'll do, we'll tie it in there, and then we'll do the overlap as well. And then that's your back trim on. Right, what we're going to do now, we know our roof's in a good position. We've put the first part of the gutter trim on. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fix this part of the roof down to this other part with these little stitcher screws. You can see there, it's got a little rubber seal on it. It's a self-tapping screw. See there, it's got a little rubber seal. So these don't want over-tightening. Just like that, just to compress it. And we're going to fix them every 400, working our way down the overlap. Again, like I said, just so that it just compresses that washer. And that'll do the job then. And then that stops any rain from going up over that. And you can see the roof there is no problem whatsoever of holding my weight. So once we've done that one, we'll work our way down again to the other overlap, and again fix them every 400. Being careful not to over compress that washer. Right, so we've got our back trim on, we've got our roof stitched up, and now we're going to cut these right angle trims and get these into place as well. And we're just going to work our way along now. Again, every 3 to 400. Don't forget your safety glasses. You don't want to put a rivet tight into the corner because then this piece over there is going to impede on the rivet, so keep back a little bit in there. Once the top is done, then we will tie the top to the wall. We'll do exactly the same on the sides and then one on the front as well. So that's inside, all the flashings are on, we're now secure, the roof is now fixed to the walls, the corners are in, it's all tied in, it's solid. We're going to talk about electrical connections, and we're going to talk about overboarding it and making it look beautiful basically, because at this moment in time, it's a shipping container. Right, so what we're going to do now, we've obviously got our inside fixed. Now we're going to go around with our flashings. Again, these will be colour coded. And we're going to fix our flashings to the outside of the building. We're going to fix to there, fix to the roof. But before we do that, we're going to go around the full perimeter of the building and put a silicone seal all the way around. And what that will do then, that will just stop any draft going through that hole. We're going to hold it up there, 3 metre lengths. So if it's too long, we're just going to mark it. We're going to cut it off to length, and then we're going to fix it to the side of the building. But we're not going to fix it to the bottom of the building just yet, because when this roof profile goes on top like that, that will sit over there like that, and then what we will do then, we will fix the roof profile through there, and into the underside of the roof, and then that will be the complete roof profile, tied to the roof and tied to the wall. Right, don't forget we've siliconed around the full perimeter of the building. We've put our back trim on, put our side trims on, we've also put a front trim on as well. The fixings want to be every 300 to 400. We've just put a couple in there because the building's going to get dismantled so it can leave the unit, but when you do rivet it, they want to be every 300 to 400. Right, so what we're going to do now is put on the roof trim. So this is the roof trim. It's going to hook on the bottom there. It's going to rivet to the bottom side of that. But then we need something to fix to here. Depending on your roof width, that might actually fall and sit on top of that. And if it does, then all it is a case of putting them tech screws into there and seal it down to there. And that will be that side job done. If not, then that's when we need to get a Z-bar. So what we're going to do now is put this Z-bar just like that, and then when that roof trim goes on there like that, that'll fix to that, and that Z-bar will sit straight down to there. So this is how we're going to fix the Z-bar. So we found the position it's going to go in. We're now just going to put a row of silicone down there for it to sit on. But you do the full row. Obviously I'm going to strip this building down at some point, so we do the full row, so then that will go on there like that. I'm then going to get the tech screws, and remember the key with these tech screws is not to send them in all the way, just till you feel that washer compressing, and then that is enough. And again, we're going to put them every 400 running down there, and that will compress the Z-bar to the silicone sealant. So every 400 all the way down there. Right, so John's going to offer that up now. He's going to put that part of the trim over the top of that trim there, and then we're just going to roll it into place like that. Get it to the right length, because we've already pre-cut this to length. It wants to be the length of the building. John's holding that in place now, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go down and I'm going to stitch it to the Z-bar all the way down, like so. Again, every 300 to 400. You must make sure that it goes through the Z-bar though, so what you might want to do is just take a little measurement there and work it out and get your fixing exactly right. So John's still got hold of that. He's pushing it tight to the building for me. Again, be careful you don't go off the back of the roof. You are working at height. You can see I'm just pushing that down just so it compresses that washer. Okay, right, so that's the side trim on. What we'll do in a minute, we'll go under there and we're going to rivet that to the bottom side. But whilst I'm up on the roof, I'm just going to show you how we're going to finish this detail now. Right, so the front trim's going to go on. That's going to go on exactly the same as the side trim. The only difference is it's going to overlap that and just create a corner there. But what we're trying to avoid now is trying to avoid rain driving up there or any birds nesting in it. So we have this foam insert that's going to go in there. So what we're going to do is put it in a position where it's underneath that. And we're just going to put a line of silicone all the way along. Sit our foam seal onto the silicone like that so it's sealed it. And then what we'll do then is we'll offer up this profile and get that in the correct position. And then what we can do then is we can get our tech screws and screw it down to the high profile on the roof when we know it's in the correct position. And we'll put a screw in every profile like so, and work our way along. So we've got our two corners meeting there, and what we're going to do, we're just going to put a stitch screw in there. Just to stitch the two corners together, and we'll address this detail in a second. Exactly the same other side again, so we've already put our Z-bar down, we've put a line of silicone, we've tech screwed it to it, we've cut this. So what we're going to do then is just slide that into position like so, drop that in, and then what I'm going to do is put a line of these tech screws, these self-sealing tech screws, just down the Z-bar. And then that will tie all that in nicely and seal it. Again, I'm not compressing the washer, just getting it down enough just to put a seal on it. And then again, I will put one in just in the corner there, just to tie these two bits together. So that's the top of your roof detail completely finished. So we put the Z bars on, we put the side trims on, we put the foam fillers, we've siliconed where we need to, and we've put us tech screws down now, and that's watertight now, and that's ready to go. So all the top's completely finished. We're just going to get that trim there. We're going to put a rivet in there. That's going to tie that in nice. And then what we're going to do, we're going to go down and we're going to rivet the bottom of the trim to the roof. And where this is overlapping here, we're going to rivet through all three sections. So that roof now is tied at the top. It comes around there. It's riveted to there, which is riveted to that. And that will tie it all in lovely. So we're just going to tidy up this corner now and get rid of that open space. Put a little corner trim on there like that. And the last thing to do on the roof is just put this angle trim on. So what it's going to do basically, it's just going to sit on top of the high profile, and then the water will run down, it will hit the back of that and drop down into the gutter, and that will sit into the gutter like that, and then the water will come down. If it's like heavy rain, it will hit that and drop down into the gutter and won't overshoot the gutter. So what we'll do is we'll just pop that on there like that, and then we're just going to put some of these self-sealing tech screws again in the high bridges. Yeah, so as I said, these trims come at 3 metre length, so you just need to extend any trim that needs extending. We're just going to pop that on there, and we're just going to get some more stitching screws in here. And what we'll do then, we'll just pop one in the corner just to tie it all in together. You can see there, look, when your bracket goes on, the rainwater's going to come down the low profile. If it's raining heavy, it's going to hit the back of there and drop down into the gutter. And you've still got a nice little gap there for the rain to drop down anyway. And that's your roof complete. Right, there's your insulated building shell completely finished. Don't forget, these will come anthracite and they will come pre-drilled. This building you can build in any weather. I'm assuming, and I've no doubt, that you could build this by yourself over a weekend. Get your partner to help you. No problem at all. Get it done over a weekend. If it's raining, it doesn't matter. You can build it in the rain. You can build it in the snow. It is completely watertight from this point. All you need now is to put your doors in. The doors, follow any of my instructional videos, and all you'll need is tech screws to go through the thermal break and tack into the metal there and then form round. That will be easy enough. Right, let's talk about if you haven't got this base, if you've just got a concrete pad. So what you will get then, you will get a channel like this. Again, this will be colour coded. You will create your perimeter, you will drop your panels in and create the building exactly like you did here. And then what you will do then, you will drop 100mm insulation into the pad, on top of the pad like that, with a damp-proof membrane. So you will in fact create this exact building, apart from the fact you'd be on a concrete pad. So you've got two options, concrete pad, you've got this cartridge base, or you could build a timber frame base and then you could build this building on top of it. We've just lifted it at one side. We're estimating, how much did we say, John? 400 kilos. We estimated about 400 kilos. The three of us lifted it off the floor just fractionally there. You can see that. Right, so this particular one now, we've designed this so it can be overclad. So what we do now is we'll slate batten that and we'll fix our cladding and we will let our cladding drop past down the bottom there. Same on the sides and the one... Same on the back as well. We've designed this so that it will have slate battens on and then the cladding will fly straight down there. Any water will come and hit the cladding and drop down and hit the floor. You've got your gutter trim up there which will go on there. So you put your gutter on there, you'll have your downpipe, that will come. But as a unit, this is completely sealed and ready to go. You can work in this now. All you need is your doors. So let's talk about electrics, right? If you're going to keep it like this inside, then you would have surface mounted electrical boxes in conduit. But what we will do, we will overboard it. So we will slate batten it, we'll run our cables, we will plasterboard it, and we'll create basically the normal finish that we do. But the beauty of this, like I said, it's up and running in a day. Right, so if you want one of these, get on my website, and I'll do bespoke as well, so I'll do any size you want, any shape you want as well. We can work that out for you, no problem. Just jump on my website and follow the links.